Do you want to buy an online business, but you're struggling to find the funds to make that happen for buying either a sizable online business, or you just don't want to risk all of your funds? In this video, we're going to talk about 4 different funding methods that buyers can use to acquire online businesses without using even a majority of their own funds. You might be able to fund even up to 80% of the acquisition price to buy the online business of your dreams, one that can really make a difference whether you want to go full-time into entrepreneurship, into online business ownership, and you need the funds in order to replace an income to justify that move, or you are looking to maybe retire more quickly. In any case, this will allow you to make that happen much more quickly and reduce your overall risk. The first, and at least on Empire Flippers, the most accessible form of funding is through Earnouts, which is essentially seller financing, especially for businesses that are around upper 6 figures to 7 figures. It's very common for sellers to be open to financing, which is where it can be either time or fixed financing. So it's a fixed earnout, meaning maybe you pay 80% of the cash up front and then 20% is paid out over 6 months, 1 payment per month. Or maybe the seller is open to performance-based earnouts, which is where you'll still pay a percentage of cash up front, but then the remaining portion, the earnout portion, is going to be either revenue-based or profit-based. And the details of the earnout really depend on you and the seller. Now, not every seller is open to this, and especially for some of the smaller businesses, that just doesn't make sense for them to do that. But for buyers who are an especially good fit for a particular business and the seller has confidence that you would be able to continue to operate the business, of course, but then also potentially grow it, pretty much to be able to guarantee, or they feel confident that they'll receive their earnout according to the specified time or performance. Those are the buyers that are more likely to be able to purchase a business with an earnout associated with it. Now, the second point I wanted to bring up is online business funding. So this is similar to like going to a bank or, I don't know, traditional funding for maybe real estate. But in this case, it's businesses or companies that only fund online businesses. And the reason why I bring this up is because a lot of traditional investment channels, they just aren't accustomed to funding online businesses. They just don't really know how to value online businesses, or the risk just seems too high because oftentimes you don't have collateral like you do if you buy a house, for example, that lender would be able to repossess in the event of defaulting. So the lending company that I wanted to bring up in this case is a company named Boopos. The reason why I bring them up is because they are actually working directly with Empire Flippers, and you can see on specific listings when financing is approved. And that's kind of like getting a pre-approval for a business. So you know when you're looking at a business with that badge that Boopos has actually verified or pre-approved that business for financing. And if you look on the Boopos site, you'll see some of the details of their lending program. You can get up to 80% of the acquisition price funded. Funding is quick. I saw on the site that you get your funds as quickly as in 7 days. And probably the biggest point here is that there's no personal guarantee. So if the business doesn't work out or it declines, then your personal assets are not at risk when pursuing this path. So I think this is a great opportunity for those who see businesses that are at a level where they're ready to scale. They have all of the foundation, they have the product market fit, they're validated, and they're ready for somebody with the capital or the skill set to take it to the next level. Those are the kind of businesses that you can see really skyrocketing if done right. So if you are a buyer and you have a specific skill set, for example, and you know that if you apply that skill set, you'd likely be able to scale the company, you could potentially pay off your loan more quickly. And if it stays the same or if it declines, you aren't personally at risk. The next 2 I wanted to talk about are more about distributing your risk, which is more in the form of partnership. So this isn't immediately apparent on Empire Flippers, but we have a lot of buyers who are actually either companies or partnerships of people. It's not just always a single owner. There are companies, even larger companies called aggregators, often receiving traditional capital. They will purchase a lot of the same business models. So Amazon FBA aggregators were a big deal about 2 years ago when everybody was stuck inside and e-commerce was huge. I mean, e-commerce is still huge, but at that point in particular, e-commerce companies were blowing up. And so that gave rise to aggregators. Now, you don't have to be a traditional company and receive traditional funding in order to leverage this principle. You can get together with people that you know personally, who will also want to get into online business, and you can pool cash together with the specific intent of acquiring an online business or a portfolio of online businesses. And this can be a particularly good fit for people who not only can pull together their funds, but can also pull together their skill sets. So if you have varying skill sets, for example, maybe you want to start a portfolio of websites or acquire a portfolio of websites, and one person's a really good writer and the other person is more on the technical SEO side, that kind of partnership could make sense. And you can expand that pool size to as many partners as makes sense for you. Now, just make sure that, especially depending on the size of the pool, that you speak with an accountant about the requirements or what kind of corporation, for example, you'll need to set up, just to make sure that you and the other investors are protected. And next, I want to talk about Webb Street, formerly Empire Flippers Capital. So this was a division of Empire Flippers that is now branched off. And the way this works is that you, as an investor, you have the opportunity to invest in each round. So a few times a year, they'll open up the next round of investments, at which point investors will have the opportunity to invest money into a pool. And that pool will be used to invest in multiple businesses to create a portfolio of online businesses. And those businesses will be run by an operator who has a proven track record of success. So it's an extremely passive way to be involved in online business. And you can check the website right now to see their track record and their annualized return on investment to determine if this particular pathway is the right pathway for you. And the last point I wanted to bring up is on traditional loans. So I'm not going to talk too much about this because honestly, traditional loans, as I mentioned before, a lot of buyers have struggled in the past. Even seasoned entrepreneurs have struggled to get traditional loans for new businesses like online businesses. And this will vary according to countries. Maybe some countries don't even have this kind of program, or maybe for some countries it's easier. My own experience, or I guess the funding source or traditional funding source that I'm closest to, is in the US, which are SBA loans or Small Business Association loans. You can look on the SBA website to see what the requirements are for that. And I was questioning even bringing this point up because it's not really a funding option that's super available to people right now. But I can see that over the past few years, as online business has kind of become even more mainstream and been, more importantly, perceived as real investments, that in the future, I could see this catching up as a legitimate funding option that people can consistently go through. All right, so those are a few funding options. If you did have any questions about especially going through Bupos or for seller financing through Empire Flippers, I highly recommend speaking to one of our sales advisors on the buyer side. They can tell you more of the realities of what this looks like and if certain businesses that you're interested in would be potential candidates for either pathway, because there are certain business models that, for example, Bupos does fund and some business models that it doesn't. And there are certain business sizes that are more likely to receive seller financing. So I highly recommend you have that conversation with our team. And if you are interested in how to grow a business during tough times, I recorded a video recently on this topic, especially because a lot of people are worried about recession, economic decline, and the impact that it has either on your existing business or on businesses that you're considering acquiring. And you might be able to find some really good deals during this time. So this could make sense for you to think about acquiring a business now. So check out that video. And that is all for now. So thanks for watching. See you next time.